L'Amitié was a French frigate built in 1790 in Brest in France. In Ireland, there was a revolution. We had Catholic emancipation had just come about. The United Irishmen were up in arms, and Britain was at war with France. Ireland could see an option because Britain's problems were Ireland's opportunity. So they dispatched a number of people down into Brest, and when they arrived in Brest, they were able to do a deal with the French government. The French government would supply this two-masted bark, which was a big ship at the time, and fill it with cannon, guns and ammunition. The United Irishmen, being ecstatic at this gift from the French, accepted, of course, and the Amity then drew up voyage plans to go from Brest to Carrickfergus in Northern Ireland, where she had hoped to discharge this cargo. The Amity left Brest on a voyage of about 600 miles going to Carrickfergus. They had not been aware that there can be very treacherous conditions in the Irish Sea, but this being January, it was even worse because whenever the Amity got to that particular area, a fierce snowstorm came down and the snow was so bad they couldn't see the land. They had no idea where they were going, so they could not have known that they were so close to the rocks. They would have been driven past Newcastle, past the Mourne Mountains, past Dundrum, past Ardglass, and the next thing they knew, they were up on the rocks. The ship went on the rocks in the night. The snowstorm was fierce. The waves were horrendous. The men floundered. Locals coming out in the morning to check their sheep, check their flocks because of the fierce snowstorm in the night, could see bodies lying on Guns Island and those people dead on the rocks, and below them at our toll, as we call it, people dead in the rocks. Only one man survived, and he was up on the cliff top. He had gone into a shed or a shack where the sheep had gone to rest for the night and get out of the storm. So he went in and got some heat and some sustenance and managed to get him through the night. The Amity went down. All those cannons went down with the ship. All those people died. Nothing happened for a number of years because there was no way of checking out or looking for these things. Over time, divers and scuba divers came from Belfast and afar. And I remember whenever I was about 12 years of age, seeing the Belfast Scuba Club take in these cannon to Ardglass on fishing boats and take them away. But as time went on, different people did dive on the wreck, and I dived on the wreck myself whenever I was in my 40s with my boys. I could relive what it might have been for those men. It goes through your mind, the horrors that they experienced of that evening and the cold and the wind. So I told the club and they went and lifted the cannon, which I wasn't very happy about, and I never dived from that day to this. That was the last day I ever dived. The cannon was then taken away by the Department of Environment and preserved, and later on it ended up going into the museum in Downpatrick. So if anybody goes to the museum in Downpatrick, they'll see a big cannon in there. It's about 6 feet long, and there's a plaque above it with a photograph of the Amity and the story of the ship. You can also see these cannon. There's 6 of them outside the golf club in Ardglass. There's one outside a solicitor's office in English Street in Downpatrick, and there's one outside the pub in Ballyhornin. So anybody wants to go and check up on the Amity and see these cannons, they're there to be seen.